Hi, today I'm going to tell you a little bit about what it's like to study philosophy in Keele University. And the aim of this is to help you make a decision about whether Keele is the right place for you to come. Now, you'll all have got offers already, so this is an offer holder day presentation. So I'm going to accept that you do know a little bit about Keele already because you've probably looked into it. But I'll just quickly run through some of the reasons that people might have for studying at Keele. Now, one of the things about philosophy at Keele is we're consistently among the highest in Keele out of all the different departments. We're consistently among the highest for student satisfaction. We do very well. Our students seem to like studying with us, which is always good. If you want to look at some student videos and some testimonials, then we've got some of these on the page where you found this video. So we're also, we're quite a small department, but we're very research led. And it's quite a busy department. So we have lots of people coming in and doing papers, and the people who teach you, when we say it's research-led teaching, for instance, that means that the people who teach you are people who are active in philosophy research. We're writing books and we're writing papers and we're going to present them around the world, or we are usually going to present them around the world. And so that means that we're always thinking up new things, and this is sort of fed into our teaching. So some of the subjects that you can study at Keele, you'll be studying with some of the leading experts in that particular area. And it's a very busy research environment. We have people coming to visit from around the world usually, and now we have people coming to visit from online from around the world at the moment. Hopefully by the time you take up your place in Keele, there will be people actually visiting again. So there's lots of things going on in the Keele department. And so it's quite a sort of exciting place to be as an undergraduate, because we always include our undergraduates in any events that we're holding. We're small enough that it matters that, if you want to come along, if you're interested in a particular subject, then you'll be invited to it. So people can come along if they want. And then if you don't want, you don't have to. There would be no pressure to take part in these different philosophy events that are held, like conferences and workshops and so on. But we've got quite a long pedigree. Keele was founded by a philosopher, and there's been a philosophy department at Keele for the whole 70 years that Keele's been in existence. And we've had several quite famous philosophers passing through, like Richard Swinburne, Anthony Flew, Jonathan Dempsey, and various other philosophers. And this means that, as well as some of our former students, are now philosophers themselves. And this means that we have very kind of high expectations, if you like. We believe that our students can go on and do very well after a Keele philosophy degree. We make up for the fact that there are only a few of us by having lots of visiting lecturers with the Royal Institute of Philosophy. So people, as I say, people turn up and they'll present their ideas and do papers. And again, this is open to students. It's open to the general public as well. And lots of people come along usually every 2 weeks when it's in term time, when the semester's teaching's on. And we have papers and listen to visiting philosophers. Now, there is a wide range of options for single honours, so there are lots of different modules you can choose from. But also, there are lots of different philosophy modules, but also in Keele, you also get to do modules from different subjects, even if you're just doing a single honours philosophy degree. So you can sign up to a philosophy degree, but up to 2 modules per year, and that's out of 8 modules, up to 2 modules per year can be in different subjects. So people study creative writing, or some people study a language in their degree as well, alongside just sometimes to try it out, and then they kind of do more. People study journalism, or they study marketing, or sometimes they study science subjects as well, or economics and things. So there are lots of different subjects that you can choose from, which are known as electives. And these are things that are available from different subjects and can be studied as part of your philosophy degree. So you can really design your own degree at Keele. You can sort of design which modules, you can decide which modules interest you in philosophy, take those, and then also do some other modules that interest you if you want to. Or you can just do philosophy modules if you'd prefer. So what would you do in year 1? I'll concentrate at the moment on talking about what the content of the first year is, because I know that people watching this are going to be interested in, you know, kind of what's going to happen in my first year. You've got plenty of time after that to think, well, okay, what'll happen after that? So I'll give a very brief overview of year 2 and year 3, but I'm really interested in year 1 here. So the core modules for year 1 would be 10 problems of philosophy and how to think. And then we have electives, which are options, where you do, if you're doing single honours philosophy, you do at least 4 of these. And so there's moral philosophy, ancient philosophy, continental philosophy, justice, power and democracy, philosophy and film, medieval philosophy and environmental ethics. So these are all the options that, and you would get to choose which ones you wanted to do. Now I should point out that the list of modules we offer does change over the years. So if you're watching this video in 2021, and then you're planning to turn up after having a year out, then you might actually find that they're slightly different. There might be a slight change in the modules running, but this is a kind of overview of what we generally tend to offer. So 10 problems of philosophy, it does exactly what you would imagine. 10 problems of philosophy goes through over the course of 1 semester. You do a different important problem in philosophy every week. And so these include questions like, is freedom possible in a physically determined universe? Oh, so are our actions free, or are they determined by laws of nature? What is time? Maybe time isn't real. Is a person more than a human being? What's the difference between knowledge and belief? Now, these are different questions and they're different topics, and in all there are 10 of them. And even if you've done A-level philosophy and you've encountered some of these in your A-level philosophy, these will introduce new depth to the topic. So there's no such thing really in philosophy of doing a topic twice and going, oh, I did this last year, I know all about it. Because you can always go and look at a topic in more detail, and new problems arise, and you'll find that you actually disagree with yourself quite often. You'll think, oh, I thought that last year, but now I'm not so sure. So if you're interested in philosophy, don't worry if you see things on the course where you think, oh, I did that before, I've done that already, I know about it, because you will be able to do things in more depth and with just a wider range of subjects. So university philosophy is very, very different from, say, A-level philosophy. So it'll be different from a lot of the things that you're used to. Now, the next core module is called How to Think, and it's not about what to think, it's about how to argue. Now, by argument, I don't mean, you know, go outside and punch each other. It's really how to put forward your views in the best possible way and how to support a conclusion. So you find out on this course, you'll find out what kinds of things arguments are, what is logic and how to use it. But also you learn how to spot the fallacies in other people's arguments. So you can sort of, you know, you can listen to people and work out where they're going wrong in their reasoning. So How to Think is a really useful basic introduction to the sort of methods that we use in philosophical thinking, and they're really important for the rest of the course. Now, they're actually really important in everyday life as well. It's really useful having some kind of background like this. So you'll find that it's useful whether or not you go on and do philosophy later in your life. Another module we do, this is an elective module, is continental philosophy. Now, continental philosophy introduces different questions to ones you might have encountered in A-level. Some people might have done this at A-level, but things like, is conventional morality based on a mistake? What's the world of experience? So can we explain everything in terms of our experiences and the experiences of conscious human subjects? Could I make me central to everything and still explain the world? Would the world seem to be the same way as it does now? Questions about how I should live, and especially how morality would work in the context of, you know, sort of atheism, for instance. If there is no God, what kinds of ways, what can guide morality? What kinds of ways can we use to understand how we should live in the best way for us, perhaps? Now, when I've mentioned, just a quick aside, when I've mentioned A-level philosophy, And a lot of you maybe have studied either A-level philosophy or religious studies. There's no requirement on this course to have an A-level philosophy before you turn up. So if I mention A-level philosophy, it's just an aside. If you haven't got A-level philosophy, really don't worry about it, because we'll teach you the things you need to know when you're here. So those of you who have got A-level, you might recognise some of these things. If you don't recognise any of these questions, just have a think about them anyway, because you can start philosophy now. So moral philosophy, what is it that makes an action right? And that's the central theme of this particular module. Is it the fact that it brings about good consequences, the best consequences? Is it the fact that there are certain moral rules that it follows? Or is it because it's done by someone who's a good or virtuous person? These are all different ways of looking at moral philosophy, and you'll look at all of these in the context of this course. The next module is Justice, Power and Democracy. That has very, very, very great relevance at the moment. Why should we obey the state? What's justice? Is freedom the ability to do whatever you want? Should we just be able to do anything? Is democracy a good thing? Or could it sometimes, as you might have noticed recently, could it sometimes be a bad thing? Could it bring about things that aren't in the best interests of the people who are voting? Ancient philosophy is the next module on the list, and this is where we look back at philosophy from 2,500 years ago, from ancient India and from ancient Greece, and also the beginnings of Buddhism, and look at the questions people were asking then. Now, it's interesting, this course, because there are a lot of parallels between this course and what you'd find in 10 problems. So you find that actually people have been asking very similar questions for a very long time. And that's something that people see a lot of parallels. So in some ways, ancient philosophy is a little bit like 10 problems, just with very old philosophy. But some of the things people think are just very different as well. So you get a kind of interesting window into the ways in which people thought and how the subject developed. And the very beginnings of both, well, of science, religion, philosophy are all tied in together. And that's really an interesting module to take. Now, again, we have some more modules. I didn't cover all of them. So we've got medieval philosophy and film for first year, so there are those as well. In year 2, we have core modules. We have epistemology and metaphysics 1 and pursuit of the good, which is more moral philosophy. And then we have electives. And I won't go through all these because I've got very little time to do this presentation. So I'm just going to put this slide here. You can read through it yourself. And this is year 3. And the one thing to note about year 3 is in year 3, you would do a dissertation. And it sounds a bit scary, but that's when you choose any topic and get to write about it yourself for over 2 semesters. Now, you're not left to it. You would be given a supervisor, and people just go with whatever's interested them over the course. So people have done top dissertations on artificial intelligence, on mysticism, on religious extremism and beliefs, lots of different subjects, on art or on paradoxes of fiction. So things like, why are you scared in a horror movie? Because you know that it's not actually real, things like that. So people can come up with whatever's interested them over the course and then pursue that in the dissertation. And it's a really good opportunity for you to study, precisely exactly what you want. So that's quite an interesting topic. But there are lots of other, as you can see, there are lots of other options as well. Now, you can take a single honours philosophy degree, or you can take philosophy and education, philosophy and English literature, philosophy and mathematics, philosophy and politics, or philosophy and psychology. All of these are available options with Keele. Now, as I said as well, if you're doing single honours, if the subjects that interest you aren't on that list as a combination, you can do single honours and take other subjects. So you could do some history as part of single honours, or you could do some sociology as part of single honours, or some economics as part of single honours, and so on. So there is a lot of scope for studying different subjects. Now, another good thing about Keele is you can do a study abroad year. So all Keele students get to study abroad. You can choose a university. You can either go for a semester or you can go for a whole year. Now, I've had students who've gone to Japan, California, Norway, Turkey. I think there are lots of other places you can go. And so it's worth looking that this will be available via the Keele website, but it's worth looking for at Keele's provision for studying abroad if that's the kind of thing that interests you. Now, the skills that you get from a philosophy degree are quite varied and wide. It's really part of the degree to learn critical and analytical skills and how to argue and to sort of take in information. You learn to learn things quickly and to formulate ideas, but also it makes you an original thinker. We try and encourage people to do philosophy for themselves. It's not just a case of reading text and talking about what other philosophers have said. We want to know what you think about philosophy and what your ideas are. So it isn't just about reading texts and studying and interpreting what other people have said. Now, another important part of the course is you get good communication skills and good debating skills. Now, you might think, oh, I haven't got any confidence for that. But we build this up over the course of the degree. And because we're quite a small department, you can always go and see supervisors or course tutors and so on. We're easily available, we can easily be found, and we're happy to meet with people. So if you feel like you're kind of a bit lost on a topic, you can always get in touch with someone and find out how to, get a bit of an explanation and a bit of help. So what do these skills get you? Well, we did a little survey of our students a bit ago, and it wasn't very long ago, like 2 years, I think. And in this, we discovered that we had 54% were working. This was 6 months after they graduated. 34% had gone into a later studying. 3% were working and studying, and only 3% were unemployed. And then there were 6% doing something else, and I'm always fascinated by that 6%, but there we go. But the thing is, the kind of jobs that people have gone into, some people have gone into teaching or the police or the civil service, but also people have gone on to become philosophers. They go on to do graduate studies. Some people there are at least 2 people training as child psychologists. There are several people who've just gone on and just pursued things that have interested them during the course. So some people who've taken the language part of the degree go to teach in the country they got interested in. So one of our graduates went to teach in Japan, and it's there's a very wide range of different options. Some people are doing things like computer programming or marketing and business as well, or even going into TV production, or we've got one of our graduates is a TV presenter. So there are lots of, basically this just shows you that there are lots of different career routes that you can take on the basis of a philosophy degree. And so it's worth thinking about philosophy, because if you enjoy it, then you'll do well in it. And if you do well in it, then you'll have a good start to your career, no matter what you choose to do. So I very much hope that you do choose to do philosophy at Keele. Thank you.